What's the word, YouTube? You know who it is. It's your boy Big Will, back with another episode of Life After Prison. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, where I came from, things that you might not know about me. Things that if you know me from around my area, you should know about me. But yeah, let's get it. Let's start it. From a young age. Grew up with an Italian-Irish mother. My grandmother on my mother's side married my grandfather. He was full-blooded Irish. She's full-blooded Italian. They were from Boston. My grandfather was in the Irish Mafia. So my mother grew up with a lot of that stuff, you know. She grew up in that lifestyle, you know, so a lot of that mafia things that was happening. Yeah, sorry about that. So my mother went through it, you know what I mean? So when I was a kid, that was things that I was around when I was young, you know what I mean? Probably 16 or 17, my mother moved from Dorchester. They lived in Dorchester in Boston. My mother and, well, my grandfather and my grandmother had split up early. I guess when my mother was young, 10 or so, I guess. And my grandmother had moved to Fall River with another man, a sailor she met. He was in the Navy. They moved to Fall River, where we lived in the projects at that point. Originally, they were Navy projects. They were housing projects for the Navy. Years later, they became housing for the not wealthy, if you want to call it that. Some people would call it poor. We weren't poor, we just weren't wealthy. Like I said, my grandfather was in the Navy, so we were well off. Then after that, he was on a crab boat. He worked in a crab boats. So he was a fisherman. So we were always in the seafood and eating crabs and lobsters. And my mother met my father probably when she was young, 15 or 16, I guess. They got married, had me when they were 18. Had my brother with that. They got their own apartment, but lived in the same projects. Had my brother. My mother left my father young. I was probably 2 when they split up. Because my brother was young. My father was just a recluse, you know what I mean? Always, he was into drugs. He was always into guns and robbing people. And my father was a big dude. My father was 6 feet 7 inches tall, weighing 360, close to 400 pounds at times. But back when he was a kid, he was tall. He was a big guy, but he was thin, you know. So, but he was off the wall. Would rather shoot you or stab you than beat you up. He instilled fear in people in this city. If you were from Fall River in the 70s, 80s, 90s, up until 2007, my father died, you knew who he was. And if you said different, you just lied. Back in the mid-70s, 80s, my father ran the city, so to speak. He did what he wanted. He did what he wanted to people. He was always hired as a bouncer or a thug guy to go get it. always into drugs and always with the wrong people. You know, wasn't there for me and my brother growing up. He was always in prison. So we moved to Louisiana as kids. Spent some time there with my mother's second husband, which was my brother David's father. But my father went on and had other children. He had my brother Danny. He had my sister Heather with his second wife. And then with his third wife, he had my brother Nick, who died at 17. My sister passed away 3 years ago. My brother passed away. My brother Joey passed away 4 years now, almost 5 years ago. And my brother David, he lives in Texas. So it's just me and my brother Danny right now from the city. But me, my brother Joey, my brother Danny, we all took right after my father. You know, we grew up in the projects, did nothing but crime, drink. As a teenager, drink, smoke weed, just off the wall. My mother worked. My mother worked all the time to support me and my brother, so we just ran wild. You know what I mean? We lived in the projects and we ran wild. We were in and out of crime, selling drugs. You all know from me, I've said it many times on my channel, I've sold drugs for many years. You know, it was things you do when you grow up in the projects, and that's what you see, that's what you know, that's what you do. You know, one thing you guys will know from me is, or you should know and understand, is what I tell you is all truth. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's truth. My life's an open book. People who know me know my life. So there's no sense in me telling any of you something different. You know, it is who I am. I don't portray to be somebody else. Anything I tell you is all true. Any stories I tell you, it's true. I can tell you stories growing up that blow your mind. And there's some things I can speak on now because, like, my father's dead. You know, knowing the people that have lost their life due to him, knowing the people who he has shot at, you know, who he's been convicted of shooting his cousin in the head for money, shootouts with the Stadies. You know, my father was that type of person. And he died in 2007, but he died a happy man because at the time he had one son that was deceased, which was my brother Nick. He died at 17. First time trying heroin. He tried it because his brothers and his father were into that life. So he tried to sell it and make some money and tried it and OD'd and died. But with that being said, out of the 4 sons that my father had, I am the oldest. We were all in prison at the same time, right? There was actually one point where my father was in jail and me and my other 2 brothers were both in jail. You know, my brother David, he has the same mother but a different father. He grew up different. He lives in Texas. He grew up on an oil barge, working on an oil barge, living in Louisiana. When I got out of jail in 2010, I went to Malaysia and India and Dubai and you name it, Germany. So I lived that life, living on oil barges and traveling around the world. You know, something that I tried and lost that job. Awesome job, one of the best jobs I had. I would go out for 2 months at a time, come home for a month. You know, coming home with 60, 70 grand, staying home for a month and going back, you know, and seeing countries that I never thought I would be. Being in parts of the world I never thought I would see. You know, but, you know, all that came to an end because I would fight, and I had got into a bar fight and threatened to throw somebody overboard and things like that. I met a guy from Australia. He was a white guy. I seen him at a bar. I said to him, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" He said, "Hey, how you doing, cunt? I'm from America." This is probably some of you are, right? When you call someone a cunt in America, them are fighting words, you know. So I hit him. I knocked the guy out. Well, come to find out, and, you know, from years of watching TV and stuff, I should have known, Australians call each other, "Hey, what's up, cunt?" It's a good thing. You know, his brother was telling me, you know, cunt is a good thing. You know, it's something that you fuck. It's, hey, you know, what's up, buddy? That's what he was saying back to you. I didn't know. I took it offensive. You know, we were in a bar drinking. I hit him. His other brother was the superintendent of our barge. There's a zero tolerance for fighting and shit like that, you know. So I was sent home from that one. I went back on another trip. I was in a different bar brawl. Me and my brother Joey were on the same barge when he got out of jail in 2011. I was out in 2010. We were both, my brother David, like I said, he was in that industry. He was the manager of an oil company, so he took us out there to get us out of Massachusetts, you know what I mean? And like I said, I was out there for 4 years doing that shit until it all came to an end. Another bar that we were both in, and my brother got into a fight over a hooker. I tried breaking it up, got hit with a chair. Come to find out, the guy that hit me with a chair was on the same barge as me. And that's the thing, you know, when you're out there in them countries, everybody works on the barges and the docks, you know what I mean? And so when you're seeing somebody on the barge, chances are they live there, you know, that when they're working, they're all locals, you know what I mean? So the guy was on my barge, and I told him that I was going to hurt him, and he told that I was going to throw him overboard, which I never threatened to throw him overboard. I just told him that I was going to break his face, and so, you know, I lost that position. It was an unsettled time in my life. Like I said, I had just gotten out of jail after being there for a couple of years, so, you know, it was just, I went free, you know what I mean? And I just had my son a year earlier, so there was a lot of things unsettled with me, you know what I mean? I was just, my mind wasn't there, and I was just going crazy. I was out there making a ton of money, and didn't really capitalize on my responsibilities, you know what I mean? But, you know, that's 2013 and shit. Like I said, back in my teen years, it was nothing but drugs and women, and I'd gotten married, played that life. I have one son and 3 daughters that I know of. There's 2 more possibilities that the mothers never wanted to take me for a DNA test, probably because my life was out of control, I can say, growing up, you know. A lot of lore in my life. I had a video where I read all my charges. You know, I got a 23-page record since 2000 and the end of 2017, beginning of 18, when I had last gotten out. I have not been in trouble since. I have had one run-in with detectives where they, I was working in the sanitation department. I was working on the back of a trash truck every day. These cops still watch me. You know, when I get out, I was on parole for a couple of years, and after I was clear and stuff, living the legitimate life, right? Still to this day. So I'm going on 5 years, 6 years legitimate life, but shit was probably 2020. yeah, 2020. I come home from work, Valentine's Day, and there's 8 detectives outside my house who decide to handcuff me, bring me upstairs to my house, cut me loose, and then tell me that they're going to send me a summons because they've been told by an informant that I was selling drugs again, which I wasn't at that time. Of course, I got a lawyer, and the DA didn't want no part of it because there was no charges. There was nothing found. There was nothing. There was no witnesses. There's nothing. They had nothing. The cops were just trying to stereotype me and add that life to me, add that charge to me. And the DA didn't take it, luckily. So he just dismissed all the charges, and that was really one of the only times they ever had charges dismissed. Any other time from 1999 up until 2017 when I got out of prison. So since 2017 when I got out of prison, I've always been on some sort of probation, parole, something like that. So yeah, it's it's just a lot of shit you don't know about me. This is my father right here. Like I say, he's deceased now. He died in 2007, liver cancer. This is my brother Joe. He's also passed away. My brother Nick. He's passed away. My brother Danny and me were the only ones still living around here. My brother David's out in Texas, like I say. I work for the trash department. And I make YouTube videos for you guys, telling you about my life experiences. Things that I've been through. I live now a clean, legal life. Some would say boring. But I now have a grandchild that's 4 years old. My son's 10. So, spend a lot of time with family now, besides working. And it keeps me sane, it balances me. Keeps me sane, it keeps me clean. I haven't done drugs, drank, or anything since January 16, 2015, when I got arrested. It was the last time that I did any drugs or drank. I don't drink. I don't like to drink. I don't like that feeling of being off in my head or things like that. But other than that, anything you ever need to know, hit it in the questions below. I hope when you came in, you did that, you did that golden rule of like, subscribe, and you want to share and comment. Keeps the algorithm going, helps me out. And yeah, I'd like you to stay around a little bit longer and listen to the different videos, different stories of my life. I make videos about my life, about my time in prison, about things out, and I do reaction videos to mostly crime-related shit that is unbelievable that's still happening out here. But if there's anything you want to know, put it in the comments and I'll answer as best as I could. But it's your boy Big Will, life after prison. See you on the next one. Salute.